You may have heard the argument before that single-player games can't survive in this multiplayer-heavy world. It's a fact that the ongoing content of multiplayer games gives developers a way to supply content for a game and its players well past its release. But there are still plenty of single-player experiences that stand on their own as some of the most enjoyable highlights of gaming. Recently, The Last of Us Part 2 developers, Naughty Dog, made a decision regarding multiplayer. Where the original Last of Us featured an online factions mode, The Last of Us Part 2 will forego multiplayer entirely at launch in favor of prioritizing the single-player experience. It raises the question, does The Last of Us 2 need multiplayer? Factions in the original Last of Us was comprehensive in its offering. It gave players the chance to work as a small clan of fireflies or hunters, surviving through the various weeks of supply gathering, combat, mission completion, and clan growth. Doing well meant growing your clan's capabilities across various matches. By completing matches and outdoing the opposing faction, your faction became stronger with supplies scavenged from play. The extensive opportunities found in the different modes of factions gave the first Last of Us a replayability well beyond the confines of the story in both the base game and DLC episodes. Moreover, it worked well in the scavenge or perish context that had been established in the Last of Us apocalyptic world. We have no doubt that Naughty Dog would be able to improve upon everything that factions offered in the first game to create an experience that we could return to over and over after The Last of Us Part 2's main story. It all depends on where priorities lie, and Naughty Dog made their priorities pretty clear in their statement about factions. The Last of Us faction mode had enthusiastic fans, and they were likely disappointed by the announcement that factions wouldn't be a part of The Last of Us 2. But the dedication to what turned players into fans of The Last of Us in the first place seems rational. With the original protagonist Joel back in the picture as of the September PlayStation State of Play trailer, we're more intrigued than ever to see where this murky road takes Ellie in this new game. Even so, it's important to note the second half of Naughty Dog's statement. Their multiplayer efforts are not dead. They're just on the back burner. The team is shifting all of their resources into the single-player experience. But the fruits of our online team's ambition, as Naughty Dog calls it, implies that The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer has had some work put into it. Will Naughty Dog shift their vision back towards the multiplayer component and create a new version of factions as DLC for The Last of Us Part 2? Or perhaps we'll see their multiplayer efforts as a standalone project. It's hard to say, but one thing is certain, The Last of Us Factions is just on hiatus. Once the spores have cleared from Joel and Ellie's latest deadly adventure, the team that was working on The Last of Us Factions will likely be back to building their latest multiplayer experience. That said, it seems right for now to let Naughty Dog make the core experience the best that it can be, and catch up on multiplayer later.